You think you're a nice guy, easygoing, kind, someone people can always rely on. But if you're honest with yourself, there are moments where you're not actually being real. You say yes when you mean no. You hold things back. You avoid tension. And that's not kindness, that's you being dishonest. Today, I'm going to explore the price we pay for being too nice, where our dishonesty comes from, and how honesty can help us escape the trap of being too nice. So let's get going. There's a conversation me and my friends always have about the difference between being nice versus being kind. These words might sound quite similar if we don't really think about it. The difference between being nice and being kind is being nice is a sign of dishonesty. Being kind is a sign of strength. The nice guy has no choice but to be nice. This is his coping strategy. It's his way to get his needs met. It's his way to get through life, avoiding tension, avoiding difficult conversations. The kind man, however, he comes from a place of true abundance. He has clear boundaries. He has the ability to say no. He's only kind when he really wants to be, when it aligns with his deeper self. When the kind man does something that we would describe as generous or nice, say he's going to help a family member, he is being truly generous because he has personal power to say no. The nice guy doesn't. He's always saying yes to everyone, but he actually doesn't have the boundaries and the personal power to say no. So he's really using his niceness to get his way in the world, to get attention, to get his needs met. And you might be that nice guy if you're watching this video. And we're going to get into exactly the cost of this in a moment. But first, we're going to explore, why are we nice? Why are we too nice? The reason why, as men, there's so many nice guys in Western society these days is we really were never taught how to express our wants, our pain, our needs with clarity. And I believe that as men, we're told too much anger, our raw masculinity can be dangerous. And I actually had this from my parents. I love my parents. We have a great relationship. But I remember very distinctly that they mentioned that anger isn't okay in our house. And I didn't have, at that age, a way to control my anger. It was quite raw. And when we get this feedback, when we're not taught how to handle this raw emotion that we have, we start to push down and hide our darker sides, our stronger emotions, our anger. And we replace our raw emotions, our deeper needs, with niceness, because it feels easier when we have people in our lives telling us that anger, stronger emotions aren't okay. And part of that is we don't have the skills to handle that. Choosing niceness, which we see so many other guys using as a way to get through in their lives, is very easy to pick that up. And that was my story. I had this experience where I remember my family saying that anger isn't okay. And I adjusted to being a nice guy. I decided I would wear a mask and I would change who I was around different people and try and get my way indirectly without honesty. The problem with being a nice guy is we can't take away our needs, our wants, our desires. They're still going to be there. We just use niceness as a different tool for getting what we want in a different way. The problem compared to direct honesty when we're trying to get our needs met is it's very messy. We're trying to control and manipulate people through being nice. We may not realize we're doing that, and I don't think we should judge ourselves for that either, but it is one way that we try and get our needs met, and it obviously isn't something that is sustainable. So I'm going to explore what actually being a nice guy looks like. So these are all things I've experienced, and I would say being a nice guy, it's not something that you get rid of immediately. This is a coping strategy to get our needs met. So one of the first things is we wear masks. We're not honest, and we may change who we are in different environments. We're not able to express our boundaries. As I mentioned, strong emotions, particularly things like anger, and maybe things like sadness, are pushed down. We say yes when we mean no. So if our friends invite us to something, even if we have a clash or we can't make it, that's what I would always used to do. I would rush to a different events to try and make everyone happy. We have resentments that come up because of this. When we haven't spoken our truth, we often much later notice that maybe a boundary has been overstepped, someone has offended us, and we haven't shared that with them. We avoid difficult conversations, we put them off. Maybe we're find it difficult to end relationships that aren't serving us. And another one I experience is we want everyone to like who we are. You crave validation, approval from others, and want your needs met by getting this validation and approval, rather than through speaking your truth. The impact on your life is you also don't know what you want from life. You spend so much time doing what other people expect of you, trying to win approval, that it's very hard to figure out deep down what is okay for you, what things you want from life. And as a result of suppressing our needs and not really putting up our boundaries, we have frustration at both ourselves and other people. Ourselves because we're not being honest, and others because we're trying to be nice to get our needs met, and that doesn't work effectively. You also, as a result of this, people don't really trust you, and that's a result of you not really trusting yourself. And that goes back to you not knowing yourself. It's also very easy when you're too nice to play things small. You're really running your life for other people. You're not running it for yourself. You're not doing it from a centered place. So the most important thing we need to work on, based on all this, there's probably one or two or a few things if you're watching this video that you resonate with here. The most important thing we need to work on is honesty. And the big part of that is working on knowing ourselves, because if you've been a nice guy and that's been your way of getting by in life, the biggest challenge is you don't know your needs, you don't understand them, and you will come to learn that over time. And I'm going to show you how you can do that, but it's not going to be super easy at first. It's going to feel quite vague and abstract, working out what is actually important to you because you've suppressed it for so long. So the simple thing you can do is step into honesty every day to become less of a people pleaser, less of a nice guy. I want you to think about instances in your life, firstly, where you're saying yes by default. I want you to, when these situations come up, take time to reflect, to question your thoughts and your feelings. This is something I used to do, as I said. And if you're in a social situation, you're just saying yes to whatever event comes up. Often I would feel a sense of anxiety, a sense of really not wanting to go. And I knew I felt like that, but I was so much of a people pleaser and a nice guy that I would just say yes to those invitations. So take time to reflect on what you're feeling. Do you feel a sense of lightness or positivity after you've said yes to something? Or does it feel quite heavy within you? Do you have negative thoughts related to that? It's really about recognizing what your feelings are, because you probably don't at this stage really understand them. And it is by understanding them that you can learn what is important to you, to learn the events you do and don't want to go to. Also look at times where you're at this moment avoiding a difficult conversation. A good way to practice this is, yes, ideally we want to just go in, express ourselves clearly, have that difficult conversation. But part of what the work you can do is envision what speaking up would actually look like for you. It can also be just day to day. Maybe you're having a conversation at work and you have an opinion that you've never really shared. And it could just be on something as, I don't know, every day, something as mundane as the latest TV show. And you've never really shared that. So that's what I started doing. I practiced expressing myself in very small ways. And as I began to express that, I built more trust in myself. And I also got a deeper understanding of what I do and don't like. Say you have a toxic friendship as another example. You can go away, create a list of what you do and don't stand for in a friendship. I mentioned in another video that one thing I did was, if I'm asking to hang out with someone 3 times in a row and they stop responding, or I can't get hold of them, then I just leave it. I leave the friendship. It's a clear boundary. It was an understanding of what I do and don't stand for. And that gave the power back to me rather than putting all the power on the other person. I would add, this isn't an overnight fix. This is going to take a lot of time. You spent your whole life really denying who you truly are. You've been dishonest with yourself and with other people. But starting very small is how you begin making progress. I was a big people pleaser. It's still a habit I can fall into. But by beginning to speak up, by understanding my own feelings better, creating a list of things I do and don't stand for in things like work, in relationships, you begin to start expressing yourself, and you begin to understand yourself as a result of doing so. Escaping the trap of niceness. When you develop the strength to say no, and this will take time, the strength to express your needs, what you want from other people, and have them met, that's an amazing experience because you feel true freedom by being honest. And this freedom allows you to be truly kind, truly generous and giving to other people. You're no longer saying yes to help everyone out just because you can't say no. You are picking and choosing the people you want to help. That could be volunteering, it could just be friends, it could be family. You give from a place of personal power, from a place of strength. And that is an incredible experience when you've, by default, been saying yes to everything. When you start picking and choosing what really matters to you, and even if you're doing less things for other people, it's much more meaningful. So this is a quick guide on escaping the trap of niceness, how you can use honesty to be less of a nice guy and get your needs met authentically. So I hope you found this video. Please share it with a brother who needs to see this message, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.